Adventure into Fear with the Man Called Morbius, the Living Vampire, Issue 20. By popular demand, the pulse pounding premiere of a startling new series. Is he man or monster or both? Senses shattering suspense, macabre mystery, in the fright fraught tradition of Dracula. And now it begins the startling saga of Morbius, the living vampire. The cavemen had their omens, which warned them not to dare venture from their rock bound shelters for fear of the demons roaming just beyond their flickering campfires. Tonight, the uncommonly hot autumn wind is an omen to those of Los Angeles that they too ought remain safely inside their shelters. For tonight, there stalks a vampire. Because you shouted for it, Stan Lee presents a new series, a new adventure into fear. The streets are near empty. The humans rest behind their plastered walls. But for Morbius, there is no rest. I bear a curse no other man alive carries, the curse of the vampire. And Lord help me, I thirst. Night, people. I really enjoyed myself at the party. Okay, Judy, maybe next time you tall and handsome ones won't be so dumb. You sure you'll be all right, beautiful? It's only a block home, Steve, and this neighborhood's safe, remember? Yeah, girl. About as safe as sterile as your social life. Steve and Patty have been great, but their crowd's so tight. And the office guys are terrified of dating me, their boss. I almost wish somebody weird and exciting would jump from the shadows. But that would but what would a guy like that be doing in this ritzy neighborhood? Why? It's Mrs. Ferguson's cat. Come here, kitty. It's all right. What could have scared you so? Now, don't pull away. It's good Lord! Your skin and your fangs. Sweet heaven, you're a. Ah. Yes, I heard her say it just before I drank. She said it, vampire. And even if she lives through my feast, this will be a nightmare to haunt her the rest of her days. To be so beautiful and yet so forever scarred, it's a curse almost as vicious as my own. But still, I must glide away, or the thirst may strike again, and my second attack no human could survive. Now, before the sun rises and I become weak as a child, I must sleep. Yes, sleep, but find no peace. And again, the awful dreams surge forth as they do every night. Dreams of Michael Morbius, unsuccessful self experimentation designed to save his life, but which instead damned it. Immediately, the thirst struck, and his first victim was his closest friend. In tears and rage, he fled, yet the horror of his deed still haunts him. Many tried to stop him, the Human Torch and Spider Man for two, and shortly thereafter the X Men. And neither the brash Iceman nor the avenging Angel were able to match his insane power. But there was one mutant who could instill fear into Morbius's breast, and he was Scott Summers, alias Cyclops. In desperation, Morbius sought to shield himself with the body of Marvel Girl, but bloodlust insanity was not enough to match a fast moving man of intelligence. Not nearly enough. And so later, in the lab of X Men mentor Professor X, a most awesome affliction, Scott. To counteract a blood cell deficiency, an experimental enzyme was added to his bloodstream. It saved his life, but made him a vampire. Is there hope for him, sir? I don't know, Scott. I've run the most thorough of tests and feel on the verge of an answer. But there's something missing, something I cannot pin down, and there is just not enough time. Unknown enemies threaten us, and free! I must be free. I'll stop him, sir. Blast, he's glided away from my power beam. I'll get Marvel Girl and. No, it's too late. He's escaped. Besides, we have more pressing concerns, the mysterious abductions of the other X-Men. So the running continued, perhaps from himself, but eventually here to the streets of Los Angeles. But even here, tragedy followed. In a fortune teller's globe depicting the murdered corpse of his fiancée. Yes, 'tis a dreadful movie to run through the mind, or perhaps the most horrible aspect of it is that there is no ending. Outside, I'm quite honored to be allowed to personally view your research, Rabbi Kraus. Your knowledge of biochemistry is universally acclaimed. Nonsense, Reverend Damon. My meager works are for all to share. For yourself as well as any friend. Eh? Who intrudes upon my rest? Flee, you men of God, before my most unholy thirst drives me again to murder. Have no fear, stranger, we are men of peace. Strange, though my thirst is rising anew, somehow I retain my sanity. You, you are at peace with yourselves, and do not fear me. Perhaps that is why I am not forced to strike. A most wondrous event. You speak in puzzles, stranger. Perhaps you can enlighten us as to your troubles. Our help is freely offered you. I am Michael Morbius. A most peculiar meeting and perhaps a most fortunate one. Rabbi Krause's eyes widen at the name, for Morbius's blood system research is renowned. And they continue to widen as Morbius relates the story of his accursed affliction. Rabbi Krause's response is instantaneous. He promises to devote full attention to curing the cursed vampire. And so, in another section of the basement, sophisticated equipment is brought to bear. As Rabbi Krause directs yet more tests on Morbius. But if the mutant superintelligence of Professor X has failed, is it any wonder even the vaunted rabbi is stymied? Then, as the biochemist and his impromptu assistant puzzle over their discouraging results, perhaps these scientific means are insufficient to control Morbius's vampirism, Rabbi. But what other recourse do we have, Reverend Damon? In the old days, you and I may have believed him possessed, but Morbius's devil is a most scientific one at present incurable. I cannot stave off the thirst any longer. Whatever temporary calming effect they had on me is gone. Morbius thirsts. And Morbius must feast. Good Lord, Rabbi, he's broken loose. We are unable to contain him any longer. Yes, your science has indeed failed you, Rabbi, but there are other means, and now I must use them. Look into my eyes, Morbius, and let your soul heed my words. By the power of he who rules hell, come ye under my spell. What are you saying? Yes, you are now mine, if only for a moment. The hand around my neck, so tight, yet now limp as a rag. By the beard of Isaiah, what's happened here? His pulse weak, his eyes glazed. How? How? You, Rabbi, of all people, should know there is more on earth than mere science. Aye, much more. My spell is only temporary. I must reinforce it, make it more permanent. I call upon the fires of Hades to assist me in my task. By all that is holy. Not holy, Rabbi. This ritual is most profane. But you see, Rabbi Krause, it succeeds. It calms the savage beast. It stays the killing fangs. But, Reverend Damon, how can we know your cure truly works? Fool! My object was not to cure Morbius, but to control him. You see, mine is not the Lord of heaven, but of hell. Satan himself has deigned to give me great power. I thought I had need of your science to increase that power against my enemies. But with Morbius's fortunate appearance, you become superfluous. Attack Morbius as I command. Kill him. Strange are the thoughts at death's door. Here then, Michael, a Hebrew name, who is like God, to be exact. How ironic that such a name is that of a vampire. Enough, Morbius. He is dead. Enough, I said. Daemon commands here, and you will obey me. I have feasted again. I am once more sane. Good Lord, what have I done? You, demon priest, you directed my diseased thirst to kill a most holy man and destroy a most brilliant mind. But I am in control again, and for the first time I am grateful for my curse. For it means I will have my vengeance. No, Morbius, you will halt. I can't move. Precisely. My spell reaches deep, and though you may think and talk, you cannot disobey me. But why? Why do you want this power over me? I am engaged in a savage, mystic struggle. The winner of it shall hold the very world in his palm. Daemon shall be that winner. And now, my slave, glide your hollow-boned body upon the winds, and do not return without the corpse of the most powerful obstruction to my gaining absolute power. Daemon has given me directions, but not my unfortunate victim's identity. Who could it be? And what exactly is his threat to Daemon? There it is. My victim's limousine. Watch where you're walking. Away! You are no match for my strength, and your passenger is the one I seek. Now I shall find out who. You! The most innocent child I have ever seen. Good Lord. Are you my victim? Next issue. The Vampire's Victim. What was there to fear from a collection of wax images? Kenyon wasn't a bit frightened until one of the images moved. Midnight in the Wax Museum. This place sure gives me the creeps. Somehow I can't help thinking it wasn't just coincidence that Anders ducked in here. Anders ducked in here because the cops were after him. For no other reason. You guys scare easy, don't you? Maybe. But just look at him. Mike Anders, killer. He runs in here and then just vanishes. Sure, we're scared. Aren't you? Joe Kenyon, the man with steel nerves, eh? Kenyon grinned. These men were like children, afraid of shadows. He made no effort to keep the contempt out of his voice. That's right. Relax, boys. Anders is gone, remember? The trouble with you is that you've all got too much imagination. And I suppose you haven't. Come off it, Kenyon. I'm no hero, but I'm not like the average man either. I don't let my imagination run wild. To me, this is just another job. That's easy to say with all of us here for company, but I wonder how brave you'd be if you were here alone for a while. Let's see how much of a hero you really are. I've got $10 that says you won't spend a night in this place alone. You're kidding. What would that prove? It would prove if you just talk to hear yourself, for one thing. I don't think you've got nerve enough to do it. And neither do I. Do you take us up or do you back down, Kenyon? At the beginning it seemed silly to Kenyon, but if the others wanted to be shown, why not? So it was soon arranged. Okay, we've got permission from the owner. We'll lock the door behind us. I stay in here until you let me out in the morning. Fair enough. Sleep tight, boys. I know I will. It was almost funny. Kenyon settled down to a good night's rest, but there was to be no rest for him. Of all the rotten breaks, I would pick this night to get insomnia. Kenyon tossed and turned, and after a while it seemed to him that the shadows began to writhe and twist. This is crazy. I know there's nothing alive in this place except me. What am I so nervous about? Something moved. I heard it. There's nothing. I've got to get a hold of myself. You're wrong, Kenyon. There is something here. Me. Kenyon froze, then slowly he turned. Anders? No, this isn't happening. You're not real. You're just a wax dummy. Wrong, reporter. I'm the real McCoy. You and your pals made a little mistake. I heard. I didn't take off. I stayed. The police were too close. After I ducked in here, I changed places with that dummy of me. It's hidden behind those drapes. I don't believe it. You're just a dummy. Just. Kenyon moaned the words, but even as he spoke, he knew that he was mistaken. Get away. What are you going to do? I can't just leave you behind to blab to the police when I move on, can I? That wouldn't be smart. You should never have made that bet. If you know any prayers, you'd better start saying them. You're going to kill me? Don't, please. Kenyon pleaded, and before his eyes, a trigger finger began to tighten. No, you can't. Then suddenly, darkness enfolded Kenyon like a black cloud. But after a while, there was light again. No, you can't kill me. You can't. He's coming out of it. You. Where is he? Where's Anders? He was here. We fought. Call the police. Anders? Here? Take it easy. What are you talking about? Kenyon told his story, but the reaction was not what he expected. Anders? That's good. Good. It's terrific. The others laughed. They roared until at last Kenyon could endure no more. You're mad. All of you. You must be. What's so funny? You are. This is even better than we hoped for. You never fought with Anders last night. You couldn't have. There's what you must have fought with. Anders dummy. You probably hit your head in the wall and knocked yourself out. You fools. Don't you see? This is a trick. Anders must have heard you coming. You smashed the dummy and ran so you'd think just what you do think. But he was here. If he was, it was the neatest trick of the century. He's the first man who can be in two places at once. Kenyon raged, but in the end he knew the truth. He really wasn't so very different from the average man after all. Anders was captured last night, Kenyon, not 10 minutes after we left here. I'd say you had quite an imagination, wouldn't you?